the picture for me. Who is in the room, when this thing starts up? You've got, clearly you got Casey, Erick, and you've got Ty Beard. Who else is there?
So the lawyers that were present were Ty Beard, Mr. Bullock. I don't know his first name.
Jim.
And then Jim Bullock. I'm sorry, Jim Bullock, and then another female that was there. I don't know if she was one of the Amazons.
Yeah, that was Amazon Prime, Carrie.
Oh, okay. So one of the Amazons were there, and then on Casey's side, it was Casey, another female, which I have no idea, and then two other people sitting right behind them. I have no idea who they were.
They were not the defendants, though, right? It was not Monica or Ron Toye.
Well, I mean, if Monica is another dude, I don't know.
Hey, it's 2019. I don't know what people do anymore.
Exactly.
So Ron Toye wasn't there either, right?
No, none of the people in the lawsuit were there. No.
Okay. See, this is interesting, of course, because you might not have seen all of this, but Shane has been out in full force. Now, when Shane comes out in full force, you can assume that he's trying to do damage control, right? Yep. It's like when his parents would come home and he only had left shoes, and he had to come up with some stories about why the evil man came in and stole all of his right shoes or whatever.
Oh, and the dog ate it.
Right.
Pretty much.
We don't have a dog. Get back in your kennel, Shane. Yeah, so he seems to be in full-on damage control today. At least that's how I interpret it. So he has been talking just definitively about what happened there. Now, the best part of that is I assume that Casey Erick isn't talking to Shane. So I assume that Casey Erick went back, told his clients what happened, and then his client Ron Toye has been sending info to Shane, and that's where Shane's getting his stuff. I don't know that. That's my assumption. I guess it could be from someone on Casey's team. Who knows? But that's all. It's important to point out that's third-hand information. And I think more importantly, it's funny to point out that's probably a sales pitch of Casey talking to his client about how great they did today. So we're gonna,
honestly, like when I heard that that Shane actually got the information, I told the information right when I did. My assumption was that they're trying to make Shane the pretty much of sharing information out there. The problem is no one really cares about you, Shane, like at all.
Oh, that's brutal.
Like seriously, like stop.
He gets the same 13 likes on every tweet. I love it.
Exactly. It's really embarrassing. Like I don't like him.
Yeah. Well,
he creeped me out.
Don't worry. I don't think Shane likes him either.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we've got Jim, Ty, and Carrie. We've got Casey, Erick, and we've got a female associate attorney. I think I know who it is, but we don't need to bother like naming her or anything. Like I don't want anything directed at these people for doing their jobs, even if sometimes they might do a poor job. Not every, most attorneys don't win all the time. Most attorneys have bad days or good days. Most attorneys make good and bad decisions. I'm sure Ty and company made some errors from what their strategy was, because once you get in front of the judge starts asking questions, and then you have to answer them. And that might not be what you intended to talk about. And the judge doesn't always care about what you think the judge is going to care about. Okay, so they're there. Judge comes in, and things get started. Can you kind of paint the picture of what happened after that?
So after that kind of whole, like the whole getting up, sitting down, and all that, immediately it started getting like heated. Just they started talking about confidentiality and just keeping it like public, and so pretty much Casey's whole defense was that Ty's party is trying to keep everything confident, but Ty is arguing that we want to keep certain things private, mostly things that were already private, like the Funimation investigation or just tax forms or something like that. So that's pretty much what it started out to be, and that went on for about 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay. And what's your kind of impression of the judge? Is the judge mad at a particular party? Is he mad at every party? Is he in dad mode? Like, what's going on here?
He pretty much went in dad mode. He's probably the most fair judges I have seen. I'm coming from Wisconsin. Like, even they're not this fair. Like, he just cut to the chase and decided to settle kind of on both sides and all of that. But no, I love the judge. He was good. He was good.
He's not that old, is he? He's
no.
Yeah. So okay, so dad comes into the room to some fighting kids, right?
Yeah, yep.
And they're arguing over this confidentiality stuff. And okay, so at first, is it Ty doing the arguing, or is it Jim taking the lead? What's going on their side of the I guess on Vic's side of the room here?
So pretty much Mr. Jim Bullock actually was taking the lead on this, and they went straight into about talking about what they're hearing, what the hearing's about, and why things should stay certain things should stay confidential.
Sure.
That's pretty much their whole side right there.
Gotcha.
And Mr. Casey, Mr. Casey Erick, the super cuck is what I call him. Mr. Super cuck right there. But nah, he comes in straight like hound dog and like kind of like one of those pissed off teenagers that's like, no, we want to do this and all that. Like, we want to keep everything up, we want to make everything public and all that. So it was pretty much that for 15 minutes.
Did he have an argument as to why everything should be public?
Oh,
or why they wanted to keep it public?
So to his whole argument for keeping it public was pretty much because you and Monica and Mr. Soye is already talking about this publicly on social media. That's why he wants to keep it public. He wants literally everyone to know about everything.
Okay, so I want to put this out there for the world to understand. Vic has asked for confidentiality, and let's be clear, it was not granted. Although, to be honest, I don't think that that's a loss at all, personally, and I'll explain why later. But let it be known, Vic asked for confidentiality. Casey Erick, Ron Toye, and Monica Rial said they want everything public, right? Can I quote Casey on that?
Yes, everything public. I wrote that down. He really wants everything to be public.
So if Pretty Ugly Little Liars gets subpoenaed, those email addresses, Casey Erick wants them public. So does Ron Toye. So does Monica Rial. The names of alleged victims, Casey Erick wants them public. So does Ron Toye. So does Monica Rial. The stories, the embarrassing stories that allegedly occurred, Casey Erick wants them public. So does Ron Toye. So does Monica Rial. Thank you for permission, Casey Erick, Ron Toye, and Monica Rial. If we find out, I guess, any other people that decided to make it their personal goal to brigade against cons or signing events or anything like that, like maybe an email address that came out, like maybe an email address that was sent to another signing event, any of those very public email addresses that can be linked directly to your Twitter account, lady, any of those, I guess they want them all public because, you know, it might be nice to have a confidentiality order to assess what should be public first. But if Casey Erick, Ron Toye, and Monica Rial want every single thing public, well, I mean, I guess we have to oblige that, don't we?
Exactly.
Like what? what are they thinking about? Well, like, what are they honestly thinking here? Weren't they at first shrieking that that Ty had asked for the identities of the 100+ women that Ron Toye alleges that Vic Mignogna has assaulted or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
They were freaking out about having to name those women, but they want them not only named in court, they want them named publicly.
Mm-hmm.
Publicly. What's interesting is I'm all prepped. I'm all prepped to deal with a confidentiality order. I got no problem with that. That's the beauty of how court orders work is everything's public until the court says, actually, no, this stuff is private. And then it's private because it's a court order and violating that is dumb. But these people have flat out said that they want it all public. So, hey, pretty ugly little liars. I know you're watching, even though you're never, ever understanding. But just in case you don't realize what that means, is that if any of your identities are discerned by the court, it might not even be me. It might be Casey leaking them to Shane that makes them public. That would be a real shame. That would be a real shame if like your workplace, like let's say there was someone who emailed a convention or a signing event or something, and it was easy to ascertain where they worked. Like, imagine what happens when that person who goes out and lies about someone to get their job ruined, that person's email and workplace gets exposed to the internet. It's just the weirdest thing on earth that they would ask for this. To me. Okay, so I wanted to cover that because I want to be very clear who has asked for what in this. And they are adamantly fighting to make everything as public as possible.
Mm-hmm. I don't get what they're playing with that, because like that could screw them over so hard. These people are stupid.
Well, we've accused them of a lot on this show, and being brilliant was never one of them. Never one of those things. Okay, so Dad comes out. They're arguing about the confidentiality thing. Let's get back to it. What's kind of the next step?
So pretty much, Casey was trying to argue that the voice actors that pertain to this case are public figures. And one thing that pissed me off is that he was pronouncing Vic Mignogna's name completely wrong.
The most public a figure. You can't pronounce his name right.
Exactly. But yeah, so that was pretty much that, like, went on for 10 to 15 minutes. I remember, let's see, they were talking about that. He was talking about how you made things public and all of that. And then the judge was said, do you like Nick's videos? And he said they were entertaining, which I felt was funny.
Was he saying it like as though he were being flogged to death while saying it?
He actually had a little laugh. He had a little smirky laugh to him. He's like, yeah, he's entertaining.
Well, it's Mr. Erick. It is my pleasure to entertain you in your office. Thank you for the beautiful compliment. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. I wonder if he watched last night's show.
I still need to watch that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know if he would have said, I don't know. I'm of two minds on it. If he said it was entertaining after watching last night's show, hats off to him, and I buy him a drink any day. Any day. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the judge asks, is this show is it good, basically? Is this show entertaining, or is it any good? He says, yeah, it's a little entertaining. So then what point do they move past this confidentiality issue?
Pretty much when the judge got tired of this bickering and arguing, because we were getting literally nowhere.
Right.
It started acting like a TV show at that point, but he pretty much cut straight to the chase and says, like, he turned to Ty's Mr. Bullock. He said, what can the court do for Vic? That's pretty much all he said. And Mr. Bullock replied with, he just wants to try to repair Vic's career, his life, just his pretty much his the way people see him.
Right.
And then he wants to try to have the court repair like the monetary damages that what happened to Vic. And then he asked both of them, what's the end game for both parties? Is it money? Is it pretty much that? And Ty's party, Mr. Bullock, pretty much said he wants people to stop defaming the guy, just stop tortuously interfering with his contracts and all of that. And Mr. Casey replied, saying how he doesn't think what Ron is saying are the allegations, keyword allegations.
So he says that they're allegations.
They're allegations that
Okay.
Ron Toye is putting out on Twitter is defamatory.
Oh,
So that's why he keeps on replying on Twitter, which is retarded. So dumb.
Now, did the judge ask Casey about Ron's tweets?
He probably, yes, I believe he did. I don't remember the response though.
I know the response.
Oh man, what was it? I didn't write that down.
If I understand correctly, the judge asked Casey if his client was still tweeting.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, I remember that. Okay.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but Casey's response was, I asked him not to. Right?
Yeah.
Or I've asked him to stop, something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you know that Ron Toye went back into protected mode today?
Yeah, I saw that.
Right. Right after the hearing.
Yep.
You know, Casey, get off of Twitter. Oh my God. Get off of Twitter. Oh my goodness.
So at least we know he's going behind his lawyer's back and tweeting. Well,
yeah. I mean, you can only do so much about your client. You can only do so much.
Yep.
Okay, so then so Vic's side says we just want stop defaming our guy, and then please stop messing with his contracts. Did the judge know that this was about tortious interference and stuff like that? Because I have a feeling the way these things tend to play out, this is a pre-trial motion. The judge doesn't even have to think about petitions and answers at this point. He comes in and all he knows is that there's a motion hearing going on for discovery. And so did you get the sense, or did he talk about whether it was about any of the nature of the case?
I don't believe he did.
Okay.
I believe I believe he asked like, what, like pretty much like what's going on.
Right. Yeah. Now, so when Jim talked about the tortious interference and stuff like that, did the tone of the room change at all, or did the judge say anything about it?
Oh no, the tone of the room definitely changed, mostly on Casey's side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How can you describe that? I'm trying to figure out what you mean. Like I said, I have another person's opinion on what was going on, but I'm more interested in yours. Okay.
So when the judge was talking mostly about that, I don't know the presence, because it was pretty much like a just complete quiet, like they just like letting the judge talk pretty much.
Right. Well, see, that's what happens when Dad comes in, right?
Yeah.
And here's the thing that both of these lawyers knew. Both of these lawyers knew very much that, or both of these teams of lawyers, I should say, knew that going into today's case is the last thing a judge wants to hear. A judge in Texas, discovery is so broad. So you're coming in with like little arguments about discovery. They need to be the most solid arguments you've got, and with real like danger to them. Otherwise, the judge is going to be like, what are we, why am I here? Why is my docket being populated by you people who can't figure out discovery? Because it's deposition squabbles. Most attorneys get them worked out, right? And so the judge is going to be coming in pissed. But All right. So they're just letting the judge talk. I guess kind of walk me through what happens next.
So pretty much, he was pretty much asking, has anyone been deposed yet? And this is when Ty went up and spoke. And Shane did get this right. The judge thought that Ty Beard was actually Vic. And
Sure.
I do like, and Ty didn't talk the whole time. I think he was just letting Jim talk, which
Yeah.
I thought was funny. But again, I don't think that was wrong for the judge to think that. So
No, I mean, usually you've got in a lot of cases, what's going to happen is you're going to have an attorney and a party, or maybe a couple attorneys and the party. And my understanding, you know, if a judge is there and a party's not, or a person's not talking, pretty common to assume that they might be the party.
exactly. So he was pretty much wondering, why hasn't anyone been deposed yet? It's been this long. And they were pretty much then saying about the dates and how he wasn't available all of May and all of that. And the judge pretty much said, well, let's just do it here. And then he asked both parties what county they live in. And he's like, yeah, we're just going to do it here. We can do it in that room, actually. So he asked, when are both clients available? And and then Mr. Ty said, my client is available in the second week of July. At that point, I don't know what
Second week of June.
Sorry, no, July.
Oh, he said July.
Sorry, June.
Okay.
Sorry, June. I forgot. Sorry, second week of June. So yeah, that's when Mr. Casey. I don't remember what he said, but I think under his breath he said it won't work. But they ended up making an agreement with the judge outside the court after I left. So
Sure.
yeah.
Okay, so you didn't stay through the entire hearing.
No, it actually it ended, and then we were asked to leave, and then they were talking.
Okay.
When I left, yeah.
Gotcha. Did were you there when Ty raised the issue of the TCPA?
Yes. Sorry, I completely forgot to mention that. So
that's why I'm here. That's why I'm the
okay.
professional questioner.
Yes. So a good thing is that during the depositions, Ty was worried that after they deposed Vic first, that they were going to file for the anti-slap motion after, or like 5 minutes after Vic was deposed. The judge said, well, there's not going to be any anti-slap motion during the depositions. So that is confirmed. There's not going to be any anti-slap during the depositions. So if they file it afterwards, they're on even playing ground.
Right. So that's of course, that is of course what this is all about, right? Mm-hmm. And this is what I never want to give credit to Shane and say he's intentionally doing something, because he's so stupid that I have to think that he just doesn't understand that this, of all this deposition stuff, the main goal is one of two things. It's either get both depositions for all parties prior to the TCPA being filed, or the TCPA gets filed before the depositions, whichever, but not to have Vic deposed and then have the TCPA filed and give them this huge window of time to release deposition stuff to try and damage Vic's reputation while not having anything to answer with. Mm-hmm. That was the big concern. So you either need to have all the depositions happen prior to any potential TCPA filing, or you need a confidentiality agreement to lock down the information released during Vic's deposition until after the TCPA motion. Mm-hmm. And after both parties get deposed. So it's funny because Shane thinks that the confidentiality agreement was like the end goal. And I think it's possible that Ron and Casey really thought that the confidentiality agreement is what they really wanted when they're missing. And you can see that you'd have to watch last night's video to see what I'm talking about. But you can see in Casey's filing that he is consistently missing the point of what's going on. He's arguing against them never taking a deposition rather than not taking a deposition at a particular time, which is relative to this TCPA motion. Yeah. So Shane is out there professing a win because they didn't get the confidentiality agreement. Let me spell this out for you, Shane. No one cares about the confidentiality agreement in and of itself. Only care that Vic doesn't get deposed before Monica and Ron get deposed, or without having Monica and Ron deposed before the TCPA is filed, because that's the discovery stay. Now both parties will get deposed, I think, within 5 days. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Within 5 days of each other, all the parties will be deposed. And then if there's a TCPA motion, it would have to come after that. And everything will already be done. If you think that Casey Erick having to go back to Monica and Ron after very likely telling them at the start, we'll depose Vic and you guys won't get deposed because we'll do this TCPA motion. If you think him going back now and says, well, we beat the confidentiality agreement, and they're like, yay, but what? You're getting deposed as well. Oh, and I agreed to it.
Oh, wow.
Because Casey Erick, he agrees to this.
He does agree. He does agree.
That is, I love that Shane is trying to spin this as a win. But who walked out of that courtroom meeting their objective? Maybe Casey did, defeating the confidentiality agreement, I guess. But if you're going, we can talk about this. We can talk about this too. Briefly right now, and I'll go more in depth, but I want to see if there are any questions in the super chats for you specifically while we've got you on here. But briefly, if you look at the chain of events that occurred leading up to this thing, 3 weeks ago, I think it was, over 20 days now, Ty offered to Casey Erick, let's just do all the depositions with a Rule 11 agreement in place that says that you won't file a TCPA until after all the depositions. Imagine 20 days have gone by, thousands and thousands of dollars. He said it in his own motion for attorney's fees that thousands of dollars have been spent fighting this. And what did they walk away with? They walked away with the exact deal that Ty Beard offered to Casey Erick over 3 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. How embarrassing to walk out of this hearing with something you could have had just by saying, yep, and signing a document. And ultimately agreeing to it in the courtroom. It's not like the judge, beat down Casey and ordered against him or something like that. You agreed to the thing you could have agreed to, and you spent thousands of dollars of Ron Toye, Monica Rial's money on nothing, and you didn't get them back. You didn't get an attorney's fees motion approved. But keep going, Shane. They won this. They won this hearing. They did great. They got everything they wanted. Everything they wanted, which was incidentally exactly what Ty offered a long time ago. All right, so I have a bunch of early super chats, and I want to read through them and see if there are any that are specifically for you while you were there. But before I do that, is there anything else specifically you want to say about the hearing, your impressions of it, your impressions of any of the people involved, the feeling you got? I mean, whatever. Anything come to mind?
No, I honestly, it wasn't as interesting as, well, to me it wasn't as interesting as people like put it out to be. I know after I was done listening to the hearing, people were just like, oh, what's the verdict, what's the details. It honestly wasn't as hyped up as it was. No, but other than that, motion hearings are like suicide, but you don't die from it. Exactly. Exactly. But no, I hope the depositions are going to be public. It probably won't be, but if so, I would definitely go and listen to that. But no, it was fun listening to everyone kind of talk and know what everyone kind of is in the courtroom.
Well, they're going to have to be public, aren't they? They want them to all be public.
Exactly.
So we'll have to see about that. All right, let me hit some of these quick super chats and see if there are any questions specifically for you. And then after we catch up on those, we'll do a final thought thing, and then I'll let you head out, and we'll move into the next segment.
All right.
All right, so Space Animation says, I never catch you actually live because I'm always asleep. Been following the Vic replays, was curious if he'd be interested in VA work for an online animated show, so let me know where I could find out his rates and negotiate. You can send your info to me, Space Animation, or SPVCE Animation or whatever. Send your info to me, and I will make sure to get it to whoever is involved in that. How's that? Email it to me at rekieta@rekieta.org. You don't have to give me rates or anything like proposed payments. Just get me the information to contact you, and I'll get it to whichever agent deals with this type of stuff. How's that? Blaine20 says, shame, dish-ish, a shame for display of cookery by Ty Beard. Nick agrees with wish me judge cannot stop TCP a motion. No confidential order for you. Okay, that was weird. Blaine20 says, some people think that Funimation and Jamie didn't need to be represented at today's hearing. Thoughts? One of the people in the room was Funimation's lawyer.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I know. Yes, I did see the picture of him. Yes, one of them was him, and I don't know who the other person was. People assume it's Jamie's lawyer, but I don't think it was.
I don't know. I do know that Funimation's attorney was in the room.
Yeah.
I guess it could have been Monica's lawyer. They did not need to be represented at the hearing today. The hearing was between Monica or Marky's lawyer. I mean, the hearing was between Monica and Ron and Vic. That's it. So those are the only parties represented on this motion hearing. Nobody else needed to be represented, but you certainly have a chance to see all of the people involved in action, the people you're allied with or aligned with, the people you're opposed to. You get a chance to hear some of their arguments. You get a chance to see what they're talking about. And most importantly, you get a chance to get a feel for the judge. You definitely go watch those hearings as other counsel.
Oh, I have one question from Stacy Delman I have to address.
Yeah.
Chuck Hubbard was there. I forgot to mention that. He was actually I was sitting right next to him. But yeah, I'm guessing that I heard from someone that him and Vic are friends, which I don't know if that's true or not. He might be silently like helping Vic or whatever, but I trust Chuck. I work for Chuck at one of his cons, so I trust Chuck.
I think Chuck has shown up on one of Vic's. He does these like little live stream videos on some service that I've never heard of, but where you can pay to watch a live stream or something. And I think Chuck was on it one time playing tennis with him, so I know they're at least friendly.
Yes.
As to whether or not Chuck is like helping out Vic, I mean, who knows on any of that stuff. And if he is or isn't, no one should make any assumptions on that, because you know what people do to Chuck if they think that he's somehow helping Vic, then that could play negatively for him. So
exactly.
Forever229 says, bit but my super lawyer. Okay. Forever229 says Forever229 says, clickbait title, someone call Cody. Just and Cody, I'll probably have Cody back on sometime in the very near future to talk about some other stuff. But I think Cody got a little bit of a bad rap for being on the show, and just so people are very aware, I have no problem with Cody or anything that he said. I don't agree with a lot of the stuff he said, but you know, I certainly don't have any problem with him coming on and saying it. And so Cody and I are go ahead.
Sorry, no, with the whole Cody thing, I honestly agree with him with some of the stuff, but then again, I disagree with a lot of the stuff, so I'm with you on that.
Yeah, so I just wanted to let people know that Cody and I are still friends. I have no problem with him or anything like that. So Disrhythmia says, throwing a couple of bucks towards your super lawyer fund. Yes, I'll be able to get that super lawyer title before too long. Then I can go screw up filings. Temperis Maximus says, first super chat. Hey, thanks, buddy. Love the content. Keep up the good work. If I run across you at Matsuri, let's share a whiskey. Yeah, do it. Just introduce yourself. Mithrin Emmer says, oh, Captain, my Captain. Now that super lawyer extraordinaire has just totally decimated the Beard and Vic, should we utilize the special cyanide capsules we were issued when we decided to stand with Vic? Immediately, just start chewing right away. Big Chewy Gaming says, hello there, Mr. YouTuber lawman from a very tired Scotsman, awake at 5 a.m. watching your stream live for the first time. Have yourself a bottle of Jura on me. Ooh, I will do that. Love your breakdowns of the U.S. legal system. Hey, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that very much. Duncan McBride says, as the clock strikes midnight here on the East Coast, I'll be celebrating my 22nd birthday. Hey, happy birthday, man. Consider this a small gift for the countless hours of quality boomer content you've given me. Here's to even more as I tip my celebratory glass of 77 Grangastone Scotch to you. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. And again, happy birthday. Mithrin Emmer says, additional thoughts? What do Arms Girl and Jesse Pridemore have to do with this? Wink. Thank God. Thank God nothing at present. I hope Arms Girl is enjoying her new video game library. I'm just curious when that lawyer is going to start sending out letters.
Exactly.
Billy the Kid Lauren says, sorry, last time I post this, I really want to save my mom's life. Please donate to the GoFundMe. Nick retweeted the other day to help her. Won't let me post a link in chat for some reason. That's YouTube. Sorry, man. Tried lots of times. Please. So yeah, you can go to my Twitter. I'll see if I can retweet it again. But yeah, go check out the GoFundMe. And if you feel moved to it, go ahead and donate to there. Let's see. Dark Eternal 6 says, Ron Soye, smiley faces. Casey Erick, get off of Twitter! Patrick Thompson says, Shane, aha, Nick, now the shoe is on the other foot. Get him, Nick. Enlighten these idiots. Diablo says, a glass of whiskey and toast of our victory. Cheers all. And AK Arbiter says, curious at the reaction where their Tumblr blog of evidence is brought up, where the admin admits it's all hearsay and was started for their entertainment. Did they bring up any of that evidence at all?
Unfortunately, no. I was waiting for that. They did not bring that up. It was strictly just a hearing about what they were there for.
Right. And that's what I was kind of talking about earlier with how these things go. When Dad walks in the room and starts talking, it doesn't really matter what you prepared for and what you did. Oh, we're like at probably around peak viewing right now. Let me be clear. Casey Erick had a huge win today. Like, I'm downplaying it. I've been downplaying it the whole time. Casey Erick had a huge win today, and I'm going to discuss that in just a minute. The biggest possible win that Casey Erick could have had, he did have today. And interestingly, it's not really a loss for Vic at all, but it's a huge win for Casey. So we're going to talk about that in just a minute. There's just a couple more chats that we want to do here. Ismail Bolden says, hey, Nick, I'm not sure if you got my message on Twitter, but I was wondering if you could interview Andrew Yang on one of your streams. He's running for president, and he's offering to give all Americans $1,000 a month. Hashtag Yang Gang. I mean, I would love to interview presidential candidates on my channel. I don't know that they'd come on, but if there's a line to Andrew Yang to talk to me about why he thinks giving all Americans $1,000 a month is a great idea, I'm all for it. I'm all for talking to him. I love that everybody sends him money requests on Facebook or whatever for $1,000 every month. That's funny to me. Chris Carley says, I see wanting everything to be public if you're working towards your clients not being deposed, but after being told everything will be public and both sides will get deposed, would Casey still want everything to be public? He has to kind of stick with it now.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why he decided to say yes on that. That's so dumb.
Yeah, it's a weird play. It's a really weird play. Confidentiality orders are in stuff like this are pretty standard, and it's just all it does is it gives the parties an opportunity prior to the release of information to try and come to an agreement over whether or not it should be released. And if they have a dispute, then they can go to the judge with it. That's all a confidentiality order does. It doesn't actually give you full like a guarantee. And so they're often put in place where there's defamatory statements or private information or business information that's likely to come out. So, you know, there we go. And finally, Dark Eternal 6 says, hashtag Yang Gang is a dead meme. Figits. I don't know what figits is, but it doesn't sound pleasant. Oh, and Cuddle Thought says, I'm part of the Yin Gang. His promise is to remind Americans that the $1,000 you get was already your money to begin with. Well, I mean, it might have been. It might have been. Well, I don't want to debate Andrew Yang when he's not here. But no, I'd love to talk to him. If anybody has some sort of in, let's do it. All right, buddy. Chris, back to you. Final sort of thoughts on this hearing. Anything else you want to impress upon people, and then we'll bid you adieu, and then I'll rant on.
No, I just thought it was just very interesting just to see how both the parties kind of reacted to each other. I kind of got that whole kind of that fight vibe to it. It was pretty cool to see that kind of live instead of on paper.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's kind of an interesting thing about these is, you know, a lot of times you go into a hearing and you either haven't really interacted with the other attorney too much, or you haven't interacted with them in an unfriendly way. And so to just randomly have to come in to it where the other guy's basically accusing you of being an asshole and you're accusing him of being an asshole. That's the magic.
But other than that, I would love to go to more hearings or courts or whatever just to see what's up, and I would happy to give y'all the info that y'all need. It's good.
Yeah, man, I really appreciate it. Thanks for going there and taking notes. I love getting your perspective on it, and because you know the lawyer perspective on it is very different than you, because we're looking for different things to happen in the hearing, whereas you're kind of going in there. I mean, maybe you have some expectations, but I think largely blind to the stuff that we're looking for. So you're gonna see a bunch of stuff that we're gonna miss, and I think that's really cool, man. So thanks for doing that. And if you go to any of the future ones, of course you'll be welcome back to come report on them and let us know what's going on.
Yes, man, I would love to. It was great coming on here.
All right, man. Well, thanks a bunch, guys. This has been Chris. Chris is you're in my Discord, of course.
Yes. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, my name is Taz on Discord. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, it's Taz Animu. Just kind of self-shilling myself.
Yeah, no, I was about to say, do you want to tell people where to find you, or if they have any questions, you know, how they can reach out to you. So yeah. Taz Animu on Twitter. Yes.
I know a lot of people on Senpai's home Discord wants me to shout them out. I don't know if I'm allowed to, but it's just their names. I'm not going to give anything.
Go ahead.
All right. So I know Mr. Dickard wants me to say his name, and Yuna and Chi-Chi and all of them. So Cheshire, just I love you guys, I guess. I don't know what to say.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on tonight. We'll talk on Discord, of course. Again, I really appreciate it. I'm jealous. Wish I could go.
Yeah, I wish I could go too. That would have been lit.
Well, maybe if they would have just delayed it for a couple days, I could have been there, but no. All right, man. Well, you have a good night. I'll talk to you later.
Yep, you too. Or see you, dude.
Yeah. Peace.
Peace.